Hi everyone, welcome back today. It all came about last night. I was sitting on the couch watching Real Housewives. They were writing all their thoughts on a piece of paper, and I wrote one thing on the top of my piece of paper. It said what it's really like to move abroad. And I think it was triggered by somebody asking me a question on Instagram. Something about being abroad, and I just wrote this one line at the top of this paper here, and before I knew it, I had like 4 pages of handwritten scribble chicken scratch that I can barely read today. I was a couple glasses of wine in, and everything just felt so clear. But anyways, I got through writing all this stuff. It was just a bunch of words and thoughts about moving abroad. And at some point I thought, oh, this might be a good video. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, nobody wants to hear that. Mumble jumble journal writing. I don't know, at some point this afternoon I was like, well, it might be interesting for somebody. I didn't really have anything else planned for this week, haven't vlogged at all, so I thought I would just share what I've written on this piece of paper. Well, it's mostly just my random thoughts on moving abroad, things to think about, a few tips, and then a mini little Q&A on moving abroad that I've added to the end of it, like the main questions that I get asked about moving abroad. So I thought to make it the most as authentic as it can be, I am recreating last night. I'm not 2 glasses in, so nothing formal. I'm probably gonna be hopping all over the place. It's just basically word vomit coming at you about moving abroad. I'm gonna literally read you what I've written last night, expand on some of it, and then go into the Q&A. Grab a glass of wine with me and I'll just chat. I was actually a little bit nervous about filming this. That's why this morning I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Just because I never want my opinions to come across as being super negative. Obviously, we're very, very lucky to move abroad as many times and live in many places that we have. But I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, so that's basically what my thoughts are here. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's so ungrateful and she's so lucky, what I would do to be in her position, then just know that I am very happy with where we are. Very, very lucky to have the life I have. But it doesn't mean that there's not a few other thoughts that go along with that. So just keep that in mind as we go through my journal here, basically. So if you are new here at my channel, you've just found my videos, I just wanted to give a quick little recap. I moved to Amsterdam in June with my husband of 2 years, but we've been together for 15. Before we moved here, he did his MBA in France in a tiny town called Fontainebleau, just outside of Paris. From there, we moved to London for the summer. After that, we moved to Singapore, and then we moved back home to Vancouver, Canada with my mom for about 6 months before we moved here while he was job hunting. So we've moved 5 times in the last year and a half or so. I think it's like year and 7 months, something like that. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so all I've written at the top here is what it's really like to move abroad. That's what I wrote at the very top here, because I'm pretty sure it was triggered by somebody on Instagram, and I was like, it's not all good. What it's really like to move abroad. And it just kind of snowballed from there. So the first thing I wrote down was, imagine your routine, your favorite food, like your favorite Mexican restaurant, your mom's home-cooked meals, your favorite shops that you love to go to, your favorite flower shop, your favorite TV channels, your morning news, your favorite coffee machine and coffee cups, your dog, your family, all of it's gone. That is kind of what it's like to move abroad. I mean, obviously there's a lot of good stuff that goes along with this, but you lose all of that. So it completely shakes your world up and you feel a little bit lost at times. So it is definitely a crazy experience. Is it worth it? I would say absolutely yes, but you just have to be prepared for that shock. It's not like going on a trip to Italy when you're there for a few weeks and you enjoy yourself and then you go right back to where you were. You have to completely turn your life upside down and just get used to it. Just gotta jump right in with both feet and sink or swim. Next thing I wrote was everything is exciting but also very stressful. And then as a little side note, I put, I feel like I don't, this is really 2 glasses of large wine chicken scratch. I feel like I don't share much of the stress because I don't want it to come off as complaining. And that's what I say to a lot of people when they respond to me on Instagram. They say like, isn't it stressful moving abroad and leaving your family? And I'm like, yeah, I just don't share much of it because I don't want to seem like I'm moaning about this wonderful life I have. But yeah, it's this. If you guys watch my moving vlogs, then you'll have seen a little bit about this, but I put visas, money, flights, moving stuff. The logistics of everything is very stressful. It's not as smooth. It doesn't never goes how you plan. Like there's always some sort of glitch. And if you watched our moving vlogs, you will have seen some of that. I can link those videos down below if you're interested. I basically vlogged on and off for like the 2 weeks, good 2 weeks leading right up to the move and the actual move itself. So kind of interesting. They're fun to look back on already. Let's figure it all out again. The bank, how to recycle, how to shop. Example, there's no Amazon here. Basically no Amazon. You can order for Amazon Germany, but it's like a tiny fraction of the American and Canadian one that we're used to. I'm a big Amazon shopper, so anything I needed, I would just type it on in, and we don't have that here anymore. It's the little things that you start to miss. Grocery shopping, the shops are tiny here. They don't have any of my usual stuff that I usually buy. It's all in Dutch, obviously. So everything, it just takes some getting used to. It's all done differently here. People shop daily rather than doing like a big grocery shop like we do back at home. Like the grocery shops, they're packed by like 4 o'clock. Everybody's buying their dinner. Not that we have to do that, but I don't know, we just like to be part of where we are and do things how the locals do. But yeah, just mainly the shops are smaller, there's a lot less choice, and all my usual stuff that I love, like my Activia yogurts and stuff, I haven't been able to find those. Lactose-free yogurts, that kind of stuff. You do miss the little things. So one thing I really miss is the morning news. I love the news. Like, it's kind of strange, but it's like my favorite thing in the morning to listen to the news. I'm losing my voice already. Little things like running to Walmart for your favorite mascara and my lactose-free ice cream, going to my favorite thrift stores. If I had some time in the afternoon, like on work days and stuff, I'd just quickly pop over to my favorite thrift stores and have a little wander around, and that just makes me so happy. I love thrifting. And just being able to go to like Superstore or something and getting like my mascara and my food and a book or a movie all at the same time, you know? Things like that, I miss those. I feel like these are all really obvious things too that you think about when you're getting ready to move abroad, leave your family, leave your country, leave your home, sell everything you own. But I mean, to like really think about them, you don't realize how much it does affect your day-to-day life when all those things are gone and you're in a new country for an extended amount of time. If you've never experienced it, then me saying all this to you probably doesn't do it justice, for sure. But if you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about right now. No family dinners. It's so nice, even twice a month. I feel like it really centers us and brings the whole family together and just keeps you feeling nice and close and tight with your family. We didn't have many like formal family dinners. It wasn't like a set day or anything, but obviously when we moved back in with my mom for 6 months earlier in the year, we were eating dinner with her every single night, which was nice. And then we would see Ken's parents probably every weekend for family dinner over at their place, just casual dinners. And then maybe once a month we'd have a bigger dinner with my aunt and uncle, my sister and her boyfriend, all of us. And we'd just have like a simple meal, but it would just be fun and casual and lots of laughs and stuff. And we don't have that right now. Obviously we have friends here and stuff, but it's different when it's your family and it's a home-cooked meal. And it's in your family house, and it's just cozy and wonderful. We're already so excited for Christmas. We can't wait. And this is not to say we don't love living here and that we would change our choice to move here. I'm just saying I miss these things. I hope I'm getting this all across properly. I feel like it's... Okay, next up is just $, $. And I said, luckily we had compensation for this move. This is through Ken's work, but the last few moves were out of pocket, and it is very pricey, more than what you might think. Just with any move, you think, oh, it might take us, 6 hours to pack up the truck and get moving. It always takes you longer than that. And it's the same with prices. You think it'll cost you this much, it costs you this much. So we did our whole moving abroad like the most expensive way you could possibly do it. We did it through Ken's MBA. Moving to France, the MBA itself is incredibly expensive. And then you move to France, you're paying for housing, food, travel, all the things that come along with living abroad. Plus we moved multiple times. We were paying a premium for all the apartments we were in because they're all very short leases. Yeah, it's all straight out of pocket. So luckily we're good savers and we were able to do that, but it is incredibly expensive to move abroad. Moving in general is expensive, but then if you're throwing in abroad on top of that, it is a pricey. And to also consider the fact that we were not working when Ken was doing his MBA, we were just living abroad. He was doing school. we were traveling, just having lots of fun. It was fun, and expensive. So yes, if you are considering moving abroad, save, 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 and then save a bunch more. So exciting exploring new areas, but at some point you just want comfort. So thankful that we had that time with Mom back home for 6 months to reboot and refresh and just, you know, get our thoughts back together, figure out what we wanted to do. When we moved back to my mom's place, we weren't sure where we were gonna move. We had an idea of where we might end up, but we hadn't really committed to anything. So yeah, it just gave us that time, close family time after a year abroad, and we'd been abroad before that as well, a year and a half before that. So it just gave us a solid 6 months at home with family and to just kind of hit restart and figure out what the heck we wanted to do with our lives. Hard to find a new circle of friends. That's an important one to think about. I'm an introvert. I do like people though. I'm a nurse after all. I did put that in brackets, nurse. If you want to be a nurse, you have to like people. But naturally, I'm very introverted homebody. And I said I'm lucky to have you guys because it does make me feel much more connected to the world. And I love chatting with you guys. I love when you comment and engage with everything on Instagram and over here on YouTube because it does feel like my own little world. Most friends we have right now are through Ken. He is much more extroverted than me, despite what you might see on the vlogs. He does kind of like to keep a back seat to the vlogs. Once in a while, he doesn't mind being in there once in a while. I definitely shove the camera in his face just because I love seeing him in the videos when we watch them back. But when we're in a group setting, for sure, Ken is the one that goes and talks to people. He's able to engage and talk to anybody, whereas I'm like the, hi. I don't know what to say next. That's me. So, it's not the easiest, you know, putting yourself out there and just saying, hey, how you doing at the grocery store or something. Okay, and randomly I had a few tips in here. I guess I thought I was done, but I wasn't. So, tip number 1. This is more for somebody like me, a homebody. Make sure you get out every day. I have had a few stretches where I'm inside for like a few days. Ken will come home from work and he's like, have you been out in a few days? And I'm like, no. But it is good for your mental health to get outside, so I try to do that, whether it's grocery shopping, going for a walk, whatever it is, going to sit on a patio or a canal somewhere. Have something to work on. If you're like me and you're moving here where your spouse has a job, you don't. Plan something for yourself, because even though it seems new and exciting and you've got a new house, a new city and everything to explore, eventually you get that like moving blues, post-moving blues, and you need something to focus on that's not the house and moving, because the excitement will fade at some point. Plan, money, jobs. I find it's easier to do with somebody. Be open, take on your new culture. I will say we haven't learned the language in any of the places we've moved to. We've just been there for not a long enough time to learn. I did take a little French when we were there. Took a French class, but nothing really stuck. But also we never really needed it in any of the cities we were living in. And especially here, everybody speaks English. Yes, the signs are in Dutch, groceries are in Dutch and stuff, but I have a great app, just Google Translate, that I use if I'm really not sure about something, and that works just fine. I'm kind of just used to living that way now. So, haven't really learned any of the languages, but don't really feel the need. And lastly, make the jump. And I said, if you could erase all the worries about moving abroad, would you do it? If yes, then make it happen. You don't want to miss out. I have to say, if I was on my own and I was single, there's no way I would have done any of this. It's definitely all Ken. But so thankful that he does make those jumps, because I wouldn't do it on my own, that's for sure. But I would encourage you to do it. I'm often told how lucky we are, but let me tell you, it ain't all rainbows. That's literally what I wrote. It ain't all rainbows. It would have been much easier to stay in Vancouver. We had like a built-in plan. Basically, I could have just like slipped into my job. Ken easily could have got a job there, just get a new apartment. Bing, bang, boom, Bob's your uncle. But we wanted to move abroad. We had I was gonna say a big long conversation. It wasn't actually. Ken said, what do you think we should do? And I said, what do you think we should do? And he was like, I think we should go. And I was like, me too. And that was basically it. We decided we were gonna move abroad again. We just knew that's what we wanted to do. And then I wrote, but we wanted the experience to see these things while we're able to. Like, we don't have a house, we don't have kids, we don't have a dog. We literally can just pack our suitcases and go. We talk all the time about maybe our kids will travel here after high school because we lived here, and say mom and dad lived here 20 years ago. Wouldn't that be so cool if we had kids one day and they traveled here, walked down this street in Amsterdam, and they pointed up at our apartment and could say that we lived here like 20 25 years ago. So I just think it would be so cool if we provided that experience for them. Obviously that's thinking like, whoa, way in the future, but just kind of what my mind thinks of when I'm thinking about living abroad and being abroad, and part of the reason we want to do all this. But I just think it would be so cool if that actually happened one day. Maybe I'll have to force our kids to do that. They can vlog it. Oh my god, this is getting worse and worse as we get into here. I'm not adventurous, but I want to be more adventurous. So I hope if our kids grow up hearing our stories, it'll make it more attainable and... what? Oh, it'll make it more attainable and doable for them. I grew up thinking, came to Europe, I actually came to Amsterdam when I was 18, I think. And I remember, because my family we did like Hawaii, like Universal Studios and more like kid-friendly kind of trips. We never did Europe as a family. So coming here at 18, I remember thinking I was on another planet. Like I was like, not even on Earth anymore. It was the other side of the world. It was gonna take me days to get there. It cost so much money. But now that we have traveled around so much and moved around, coming here and going to Vancouver, the 9.5-hour flight is like, feels like nothing. Obviously we're much older now, but the more you do it, the more you talk about it, the more you experience it, the easier it becomes. So we've definitely found that with our experience moving around. Like it just doesn't bother us nearly as much anymore. I don't particularly like flying, but it doesn't feel like quite the adventure, the big adventure that it used to. Okay, so I wouldn't change a thing. Love being abroad. It made me a much more flexible person, that's for sure. So did nursing, I would say. If you work in the medical field, you know that you try to plan things out as best you can and nothing goes to plan. Moving abroad can be quite similar to that. So being a Virgo and type A, I can be quite rigid and everything's got to be like organized, list made, in its place. So doing all this has definitely made me a stronger, better version of myself and has brought Ken and I so close together. So very lucky is what I put. All capitals. Okay, so that's all I wrote for my little journal. I was just going off last night. That wine was good, apparently. Couldn't even read some of it. It took me a few tries. Now that I've done it, I'm like, maybe this is not gonna end up on the internet. But anyways, I'm gonna do a little mini Q&A of, I think there's 5 or 6 questions here that I get asked all the time from people that are interested in moving abroad or in nursing school and want to eventually move abroad or just want to know about nursing, I guess. I think there's one about nursing, yeah. So the first one is, how long are we planning on staying here in Amsterdam? We don't really know, but much longer than we did in all the other places. So in France, we were there 6 months. The first time we were in London, Ken was there for 2 years. I was there for one of those. And then in the summer, we were there for 2 months. And then we moved to Singapore. We were there for 4 months. So they've all been very brief stays. This one is not that. All those other moves were related to school and were dictated by these semesters, basically. So when Ken graduated from school, we moved back home. But this one is job related. So we're planning to be here for as long as we want to be here. At least a few years, I would say. We absolutely love living here. It's the best. So can't see us leaving anytime soon. Am I still nursing? I get this question a lot. No, not at the moment. I am not. Everyone always says nursing is such a great job because you can do it anywhere in the world, and it's not quite that easy. Every country, can you hear the bells? Oh, it just stopped. Oh. You have to write an exam to prove that you are like a certified nurse within the country, and it's not like you just walk in and you do like, you know, your L driver's test. Like it's like a quick little test. You got to study for this test, and sometimes it goes even beyond that, where you have to do like simulations and written exams, verbal exams, seated exams with examiners face to face. You got to do exams in your own country and in the new country. It's all very expensive as well. So I'm not nursing at the moment, but we'll see in the future. Why did we choose Amsterdam? We didn't really choose Amsterdam. Amsterdam chose us. It just it popped up. The job offer came through and we were like, that sounds good. And we've moved around so many times now that we were pretty open to where we wanted to live or where we would end up. I mean, there's lots of places we wouldn't have gone, but this one came up totally out of left field. Again, it was one of those, we just looked at each other and we were just like, yep. And that was it. Signed the papers like the next day. We have both been here a few times and we've loved it. Didn't really do much research on it though. We just kind of, I mean, I don't know. What kind of Virgo am I? Not a very good one, I guess, but we just friggin' went for it basically. Camera just shut off. But what I was saying, long story short, Amsterdam chose us. and we're glad it did. The next one I get a lot is, what is Ken's job? So we did move here for Ken's job. It was a job offer that he got and we accepted, obviously. But he doesn't really like talking about his job. It's not anything that's like a crazy job or anything like that, or very secretive. He's not in the CIA. I don't know, he's just a much more private person. I put my part of our life online, and occasionally he likes to be in the vlogs. I'm happy when he is, but for the most part he likes to kind of be in the background, so keeping his job for him is just part of that. Maybe at some point he'll talk about it, I don't know. But for now, he'd rather not. How did you find your apartment? I get this question all the time, especially on Instagram, is how did we find our apartment? I guess people quite like it, I quite like it, and we found it like super quick. We moved here on like a Tuesday. You guys probably know better than I have the worst memory ever, but no, I think it was a Thursday, and then we did the house tours on a Friday, and then we moved in on like the following Wednesday or something like that. It was a really tight timeline, like within a week we had moved in our place. So we did hire a real estate agent. We found one through Ken's company. They offered compensation for us to do this service, which was really nice. And they hooked us up with this great real estate agent who basically honed in exactly what we wanted. We did like an online kind of quiz with them, exactly what we're looking for, price range. They'd send us some listings before we even got here and said, we don't like this, we like this, we'd hate that. And they came up with a really condensed list of everything that was available like now within our price range. So as soon as we landed, we hit the ground running. We saw 11 apartments, I think, in the one day. I vlogged that whole day. I think it's a really fun vlog. I took you around to a bunch of the different apartments and our decision process and where we ended up and everything, so I'll link that video down below as well if you're interested. But it was actually a really fun day. Exhausting, but really fun. We found this one, I think this was the very last one we saw. Pretty sure. But we were already set on another one we found earlier in the day, so we kind of dismissed it at first, but super happy we ended up with it. It's not a cheap service, but if you have the money, I would say it is certainly worth it. We have a few people that also moved here recently and they didn't do it this way, and they were looking for apartments for months, going to work, looking at places in the evening, trying to coordinate with real estate agents, and I just think it's much more of a headache to do that. You end up having to get other accommodation, staying with friends and stuff, so I just think it's much more smoother to do it this way if you're able to. If you're not, then you can do it the other way as well. So I will say it is expensive to live here. It's not cheap, but it is a really beautiful city, so not a bad thing to say about it. There's hair all over me again. Tickling me. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope that was interesting. I mean, last night it seemed like it was a great idea. I was like, oh, genius. But once you do these things, sometimes I'm like, might have been the wine talking. I know it's all over the place, but it's literally just thoughts, wine writing and journaling late at night. But I thought some of it might be just interesting, a little insight into what you experience when you move abroad, and then it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because I feel like that is mostly what I show, just because I don't like feeling like I'm whining about moving abroad. We're very happy that we're here. We love Amsterdam. But with anything, there's pros and cons. So those are some of them. Obviously just touching the tip of the iceberg with things there, but gives you a little bit of idea into our life at the moment. So if you did enjoy this, I would love it if you let me know in the comments down below. Give the video a like, then I know that you like this kind of stuff, and let me know if you want to see videos on what it's actually like to live in France, Singapore, London, any of those places. Thoughts a brewing, and I can hopefully make that happen. Make sure you're subscribed as well. I always love to see new people here, and check out my blog if you haven't. I'm trying to revive that blog from the dead, so there's a few new posts over there, and Instagram is just at Andrea Clare. There's 2 A's in the front. Wait, what side is it on now? No, I think it's this way. I don't know. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. That was a really limp wave. Whoa.